So we had one cancellation already. Let's talk about another cancellation of sorts. That being MultiVersus. The open beta that it has been in since it released at some point last year is shutting down this June. Uh, which is surprising because I didn't realize the game was still in open beta. I
Nobody
definitely
did.
I think everyone thought this game was actually out. Like we remembered, yeah, it wasn't like beta or alpha when like early last year, but apparently it's been in open beta since what, September, whenever the first season started. It's been in open beta since then, and we weren't aware. I mean, because it had 2 seasons going on. They had all the in-game purchases, the microtransactions and stuff that you could buy. We all thought it was actually out, but it was just an open beta all this time, which is
Yeah.
surprising.
This, yeah, and this reach of desperation. Um, it could be an E3 situation where it's like it's not coming back, guys. But I don't know this game or the scene enough to like declare that for sure. I won't be color shocked if this never comes back. And if it does, I could see like them having an initial surge spike of like people being like, "Oh shit, yeah, I kind of miss it," and coming back and playing it whenever it comes back up. And then this is just going to happen again.
Yeah.
Um,
Let's talk
Another
about
live service
this.
game bites the dust. Really, is all it is.
Let's talk about this. So they put out this blog post, right? Here's the broad strokes, the important information up front. MultiVersus, it's going to be shut down June 25th of this year. All online modes and features will be unavailable, and updates are going to be paused. But you'll still be able to play the game offline and access anything you purchase. So that basically amounts to playing in the training mode and then doing local offline matches. You could do those things, but you cannot do anything involving the online section. The reason that they're aiming to bring the game back for its quote unquote full launch early next year, and this will consist of new modes, characters, and features. All your progress and items are going to carry over. Okay. Now I'm going to pull up the blog post because they kind of say in here, why are we doing this? So I'm going to read that to you from the blog post. It says here, throughout our open beta, we've been working hard to build the best gameplay experience, and we appreciate all of the inspiration you've given us. Our open beta has been an important learning opportunity for us and a stepping stone to the next phase of MultiVersus. We know there's still a lot of work to do, and as a result, we have a clearer view of what we need to focus on, specifically the constant cadence of new characters, maps, and modes to give you more ways to enjoy the game, along with updated netcode and more matchmaking improvements. We'll also be reworking the progression system based on your feedback and looking at new ways for you to connect with your friends in the game. And then that's when they go on to say that to do this the right way, we're closing the open beta. And one thing, like MultiVersus has been a slump of sorts for the past couple months because season 2 started in November of 2022, if I'm correct. And since season 2 started, the game has only added one character, whereas season 1 added like 3 or 4 characters. So ever since season 2 came out, there's been like nothing new added to the game, essentially, from what I've understood. Um, and season 2 was originally supposed to end in March, I believe, but now it's being extended to June 25th when the open beta is going to be shut down. And the game is going to be delisted on April. Hold on. I'm looking at it right now. Here we go. April 4th. April 4th. The like, what's that? 2 days after this no, the day after this episode goes live, MultiVersus is going to be delisted. So you won't be able to download it if you have not downloaded it already. If you have downloaded it already and you don't have it on your system, you can re-download it. You won't be able to buy like the in-game microtransactions or anything after April 4th. That's going to be unavailable. Um, it's just like, man, okay, you guys are like just pulling this down, taking it down entirely. And I like the way they spin it. Like when you read what I read here, and they spin it like, yeah, we're doing this to make the game the best it can be as we get to the next phase of MultiVersus. But like, to anyone actually paying attention to the status of the game, which had like, I had a really poor number of players, like player count on Steam, like a month ago or earlier this month. I forgot the exact number, but it was really low. I think it was like less than 1,000 players on Steam playing this game. Uh, if you're aware of all this, you read between the lines. This is actually them saying our game is in the most dire state. We want to try this again. We want to run it back next year and see if we can do this right. Is that actually going to work out though? Do you think it's going to work out?
No, God no. I don't think it's going to work out in the sense that like is this game up for years to come? God no. I think it could relaunch. Like I said, I don't think that's outside of the realm of possibility. I also don't think it's impossible that like it just never comes back. It just becomes a dollars to like like manpower for relaunching it. What they actually think, because like obviously they have, I'm sure, their business models to like extrapolate and say this is how many people we think are going to play, which equates to X amount of dollars. And then the suits at Warner Brothers or Discovery now, whatever it is, just go like, okay, is that profitable enough to justify going back up? And the answer, if it's no, well, I mean, they're not gonna relaunch. And if it's maybe, it's like, well, yeah, we'll do it. And then we get what, another 6 months or whatever it may be, and then this time next year or a little later next year, it's like, oh, it's gone forever now.
Mm-hmm.
This is why live service games are stupid, not because it's impossible to be a game that's profitable and that continues forever, but the idea that people want games that continue forever. I'm sure there's people that play this game, enjoyed their time with it, and moved on and treated it like a regular game. Guess what? You could have gotten 20, 30, $60 out of them. Instead, you got
Mm-hmm.
maybe the $5 of cosmetics. You're not Fortnite. You're not Apex. You're not like ask PUBG how PUBG's probably fine with how it's doing as it's at least trucking along, but and they're the ones that kind of kicked off this whole craze. From the recent, I know technically Daisy was first for Battle Royale, etc. But PUBG was the one that hit it big, and then now they're not even doing that well. It's like, realistically, Fall Guys is doing pretty well. Like I know my girlfriend still plays it.
Yeah.
And it seems like that's doing well enough, but who knows? Like all of these games are on a limited, lifeline. The only games we know for sure that are probably running forever at this point are Fortnite and Apex. And maybe
Call
I'm
of Duty
missing one
as
of the big
well.
ones.
Call
Huh?
of Duty.
Oh yeah, of course. Warzone. Yeah.
Yeah. And you actually brought up something I was going to ask. That being like, honestly, do we think the game MultiVersus specifically would have been better served just being a game where you pay a flat fee for it, $30, $40, whatever the case may be, and you get yourself, you get a full game. And there is a season pass for unlock for like characters that will add as DLC down the road. But like it's a game you pay a flat price for. It's not necessarily live service, but there is a season pass. We add new characters and new maps, and I mean, in new stages, with each new character drop every couple months. Do you think it would have been better served as that? Basically, I guess following the
Poss-
Smash Ultimate model of how it approached
Possibly.
it.
So I don't think Smash Ultimate obviously is a good comparison because Smash has Smash, but
Of course, I'm just
we'd
saying
have
how
to.
Smash did in terms of adding new characters and stuff.
Yeah,
That's just what I mean.
I think so. I think there's actually we do have a great comparison. We just have to be able to look at the numbers versus the profitability of MultiVersus versus Nickelodeon All Stars
I
Brawl.
thought about that. I thought about that.
Because I mean, Brawl went the traditional All Stars Brawl went the traditional route of just releasing a and theirs was only like $40, I think, or maybe 50, but it definitely wasn't like 70 or 60.
Right.
And they had some DLC, whatever. I like it sold reasonably well. I don't know if it hit like 1 million copies. Maybe it did. Maybe it was a little short of that or whatever. But what is the profit margin on that? Is that more than MultiVersus 2 to 3 month window of like actual peak players? That being free, how much does that equate to money? I don't know. My hunch says I think it's a floor versus ceiling kind of situation. My hunch says the floor of like if you're a big enough IP, big enough brand, releasing the game the way All Stars Brawl did, Nickelodeon, is the safer move. I think they probably made more money, would be my gut guess. But there is this ceiling. Like when you're doing the sales pitch, even though I don't think all Nickelodeon, cost a ton to make, my guess is not having physical release probably helped like cut down on costs a little bit for MultiVersus. And there's also the like it could make this money, and they probably use Apex or Fortnite as like an example of like this could make money indefinitely, and it's just like kind of ongoing R&D instead of like having to pitch a new sequel and this, and it's it's less cyclical, and it's more just like a never ending. It's less cyclical in that it like it starts, it dies, we start again, and instead just being like, hey, it's just a never ending cycle of seasons, but it's like that ceiling is alluring, but you're not that guy. You're not Fortnite. You're not Apex. You're not Warzone. Like you are MultiVersus. That doesn't mean much. It'll be fun. There will be some word of mouth, but guess what also has word of mouth? Traditional retail releases, $40, $50, $60. People will still tell their friends if they really want to play that game. And you can put out a demo, you can put out a beta. If people like it, then they go and buy it. Like this idea that the only way to hook someone is to let them play the game free and give these cosmetics. No, like you played Diablo. Guess what? You're probably now gonna go and pay $70 for Diablo or $60.
Not
Maybe you get it
probably.
on sale at 40, but like
Not probably.
you are gonna be paying that money. And guess what? It didn't take giving you it for free and then making you pay $10. If anything, that might have made you less likely because it's free to play. There's like a downgrade of importance to those games traditionally, outside of the name brand. So you'd have been like, versus just being like, I really like this game. I want to play it. I only got to play it for a short amount of time. Now let me go spend some money to play it. Like this model worked for a long time for a reason. And certain games are the exception to that rule. But like, do you really think you are going to be the exception to the rule? I think these companies got tricked into thinking these are the new rules, but I don't think that's the case.
Yeah, you see, so I'm going to tie my answer to your question to the question I posed. That being, will a fresh start be able to save this game? Similar to what you said, maybe in the short term, not in the long term, but I could also see the game not coming back at all, period. I do not think, though, that this relaunch of the game is going to be the saving grace that MultiVersus needs. I don't. Like in the short term, for a month or two, maybe, and then we can see like how their actual release cadence goes in terms of like more seasons of content and stuff. Then that could change the answer a bit. But right now, I don't think long term it will be enough to save MultiVersus. And I think that is because this goes into the question I asked you. I think MultiVersus, no matter what, it had everything going against it because it's not Smash and because it's a live service game. Stick with me here. Smash is the de facto platform fighter game, multi-character, multi-IP mascot platform fighter game. It is the de facto one. Brawlhalla has been able to live and survive as long as it has, and even that is like lower key, but like that one has been thriving in its own corner.
Yeah.
But like Nickelodeon All Stars, it came and like one, it didn't even have voice acting when it first came out. But from what I understand as well, the fighting didn't really feel that great. So like that was already a shot in the foot.
I enjoyed
it. It was fine.
I platinumed
like,
it.
Yeah, I heard it was fine, but like not the greatest. And also not having voice acting definitely took away a lot from the character of that game. So that was a shot in the foot against Nickelodeon. Damn, down on his knees. MultiVersus comes along, and this is coming after Smash is like, all right, Smash is done, Ultimate's done. Now we could try to like get in on that piece of the pie, and you're already going up against like trying to surmount the mountain that is Smash, whether a person has played it or not. They already have an idea of what this type of game is in their head, what it should be like in their head, and you're competing against the best of the best in people's heads. So most people looking at MultiVersus, oh, this is it. WB has this like litany of IP they can do this with, and it's like it has a different play style to it. It's more competitive focused. Competitive Smash gets treated like poorly by Nintendo. This is going to be the one that comes out and like takes it down. But again, you're not Smash, so you can't just go off of name right there and think us going live service will make this work. We'll be able to we'll be able to be the king of the castle now. It's not going to happen. You're just not. You have so much more to prove. And we saw that where MultiVersus came out and people were enjoying it and stuff. And then that player count went down. Part of that was because, yes, they did not have enough. They weren't delivering content after with season 2. But I'm sure part of that's also because the novelty of it wore off after a bit. Whereas it's, they're like, all right, yeah, it's a cool new Smash type game, but it's not Smash. So
Yeah.
I
So
think like even with the traditional model, a traditional model might have been able to help this game some, but even then, it's not Smash.
I so
It's not
this
going to have that longevity that Smash has because it's not Smash.
I think so. This is what so I looked this up. I don't know how much this is true. Like, but there's a site called VG Insights that seems to track this kind of info. So Nickelodeon All Star Brawl, 159,000 units sold, 5.4 million gross revenue, and MultiVersus it has 2.8 million units sold. So it's downloads or whatever. I guess it's $0. Obviously, it says 11.8 million gross revenue. I don't know how true that is, but I'm sure the 150 I'm sure the unit sold is easier to track. But at the end of the day, I also think MultiVersus was probably always gonna be more popular. So I think you
Yeah.
probably if they got I think they could have easily doubled the units sold of All Star Nickelodeon All Star Brawl. So you would have worst case scenario cut ties and like or it would have been even as far as like what this game made per whatever and like potentially more. I think you could have sold maybe 500,000 units or something along those lines and if that's the case you're making more money if you launch at the same price point as Brawl. So I don't know. Obviously like I'm very pro the traditional release model and it's not even being anti this. I don't sometimes I don't know who it's for. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But I don't know. It's the same with a lot of these games. I think it's going to be interesting going forward. I think that'll be the real telling point is if we keep seeing repeated high dollar investments of this kind of model because this is I think relatively high dollar. Like it's not some indie game that's doing it,
Mm-hmm.
with 3D assets made in Unity or whatever. Like this is Warner Brothers putting at the time Warner Brothers putting all this money behind this. Um, does it happen again? Like I don't know the answer. Part of me says no because it feels like this is all embarrassing and admitting defeat for them. But maybe if it's profitable enough, they probably don't give a shit about how it looks, and they'll keep trying and trying with hopes of finally having the golden goose. Or if all of a sudden we just don't see these games kind of appear, then maybe that means they admitted defeat.
Yeah. I mean, hey, live service games, that bubble is popping for sure. Um, so we'll see what happens with MultiVersus when it comes next year. Hopefully maybe it'll be able to live and thrive, with this new refresh that it gets, but I'm not banking on it. And I hate to be
Yeah.
cynical like that, but I'm just not banking on it at all.